So when we create objects, we do so via creating classes. So let's create a new playground. We're going to call this my playground 3. I'm going to save this to my Hello World iOS folder. And I'll get my blank playground here. I'm going to get rid of this variable string. And I'm going to create a new class. And then we're going to look at how to create instances of that class. Creating a new class is as simple as doing that. Class, giving the class a name, and moving on. Let's say we want to add some properties to this class. And maybe we add a name property, and we add an age property, which is an int. Xcode at this point is going to say class person has no initializers. And in order to fix this, it says the stored property name without initial value prevents synthesized initializers. But it's basically saying we can't let these things go uninitialized. So we would either have to say give them an initial value right here, which should silence that warning, or if we didn't do that, we would define, let's say, a new function in here, which is a special kind of function called an init method. And init is basically our constructor. Let's actually take a step back, and before we do that, let's say we do provide initial values here. So we've got two constants. Down below, we can have a class that is as simple as a class that has one or two variables in it that are initialized here. And we can create an instance of the person class just like so. And we see that the values here of the two properties that are on that class are defined and initialized to the values that we expect them to. We can actually even change this to be, I don't know why it has a problem with that, but let's come back to that. Oh, this is something with Xcode. Darn. Let's try to force it to play nice with us. Let's come back to that. Let's continue with our constructor here. There we go. We're all good there. So, as I was saying, if we did not want to provide a default value up top here, we could do so in a constructor, and if we're not providing a value there, it's going to say we're returning from this constructor without having initialized these properties up here. So we could say, whoops, thinking in Java. We could, let's say, initialize these values here. And that'll be okay. It won't change the fact that we've instantiated person here and it still has the same default values. Let's say, though, I mean, we're not going to create copies of a person that has a bunch of people that all have the same name and the same age. Let's say we wanted to add a constructor that allows us to configure this person. So, for example, to pass in the name and age. We would do that like so. And some of you might guess that this is precisely how you would configure that. You would create an init method with two arguments that are passed in, one called name of type string, one called age of type int. And again, we're going to get the same warning we did before, which is that these guys are not initialized. So we're going to do that now. Oops. There we go. So in that way, we can have sort of a default constructor that initializes person to some default values, which are not of very much use to us. Or we can create a custom initializer that allows us to configure this person to suit our needs. And let's say we wanted to create a second person. Let's make Chris at 1 month. We could do so like this. And the minute we hit open parentheses, Xcode is going to suggest some methods that we might want to call. and it's going to suggest our default constructor here, and our custom constructor here, which allows us to pass in name and age. I don't know how old Chris is. He might be 762. So in that way, we have created a very simple class that has two variables on it, a default initializer, our constructor, and a custom constructor that we define ourselves that give us a little bit more flexibility. And down below, we see two simple ways to create instances of a person, one of which is just the default person, the other of which is our man Chris, who has aged significantly since he started 1 month. That's pretty much it for the simplest person class that we can create. Let's say we wanted to add some behavior to this class. So in addition to the person class being a place to kind of store these two data points, name and age, let's say we wanted to add a function here. We'll do something really simple. Just like we did in our previous playground, we can define a function here, say hi, that all it does is really just salute whoever is out there to listen. We could then say Alfie.sayHi or Chris.sayHi. And who knows, see there, this is being executed twice. This is just providing us the value of Chris here, which is a little counterintuitive. But up here, it looks like it's going to give us the fact that hi has been called twice. Maybe we want to say hi to a person. I want to say hi to like a friend. Let's be real explicit here. Friend name. Cool. So now we have Alfie saying hi to Chris and Chris saying hi to Alfie. And let's look at what the result of this guy is here. So hi Alfie, hi Chris. So it's like we just met on the street. What else can we do here? Can we do something a little more interesting? What if we want to say, let's say we don't want to hard code that stuff, but like Alfie is saying hi to Chris. This is getting a little intense here, and Chris is saying hi to Alfie. We can reference the properties on our person instances here just with dot syntax saying chris.name. And sure enough, that's going to, if we comment this guy out, chris.name, it's going to say Alfie is saying hi to Chris, right? So wait a minute, we've got a problem here. Chris.name, something doesn't seem right. Why is it saying hi Alfie? It should be saying hi Chris. I'm going to blame this on Xcode. I don't know. There's no reason why this guy very interesting. All right, my bad. So we've got a pretty simple error here. I changed this from friend name to name, or from name to friend name, vice versa. So now we're actually saying hello to the proper person, to the friend. So if Alfie is saying hi to Chris and Chris is saying hi to Alfie, we should expect this to say, hi Chris, hi Alfie. Perfect, exactly what we're looking for. So there you have it. We've defined a person class with two variables, properties on it, a default constructor, a custom constructor, and a simple method that gives it a little bit of behavior that takes in an argument. And we've created two instances, one with the default constructor, one with the custom constructor, and we're asking them to, we're invoking those methods or the behavior that we gave it, and asking each instance to say hi to the other. Pretty straightforward. Obviously, functions and classes can get much more complex, and we'll get into that stuff in a little bit. Thanks for watching.